The unexpected return. It was a quiet evening when Adam first heard the knock at the door. He had been living a peaceful life in his small cottage, far from the bustling city. The days were slow and filled with simple tasks, but today something felt different. The knock was soft, yet urgent. Adam paused for a moment, confused, wondering who could be visiting him at this hour. As he opened the door, his heart skipped a beat. There she was, the alien girl. Her glowing eyes and strange appearance were unforgettable. Adam remembered the first time they met, months ago. She had arrived at his doorstep, lost and hungry. He had fed her, and she left without a word, leaving Adam wondering about her world. That night, he had almost convinced himself it had been a strange dream. But now, here she was, again. And this time, she wasn't alone. Standing next to her was a much older woman. Her features were sharp, her long, flowing hair the color of silver, with hints of blue. She had large horns curving from her temples, and her skin shimmered with faint, glowing symbols. She wasn't human, not by any means, but there was something about her that held power and grace. The alien mother's eyes locked onto Adam's, and he felt a strange pull, as if he were being drawn into her presence. Adam stood there, unsure of what to do or say. He had always been a man of reason, but nothing in his life had prepared him. For this, the girl, whose name he had learned to be Elyra, looked up at him with a mix of hope and fear. Her eyes were pleading, as if she wanted to say something, but her lips remained still. Adam, the mother spoke, her voice low but clear, like a melody from a faraway place. "I am Elyra, Elyra's mother. We've come to ask for your help." Adam blinked, still processing the sight before him. "Help?" he asked, his voice thick with confusion. "What do you need help with?" Elyra's expression softened. "I know this will sound strange, but I've been watching you. My daughter and I have traveled across galaxies to find you." Adam stepped back, stunned. He had heard many tales about alien civilizations, but he had never expected to be part of one. "You've been watching me," Elyra nodded, her eyes never leaving his. "Yes, and now we need your help. It's not just for Elyra, but for me as well. You see, in our culture, we have a tradition, a sacred bond. A bond that requires a union between our people and a human, one who possesses certain qualities." Adam's mind raced. "A union? What are you talking about?" Elyra stepped forward, her face a mix of embarrassment and determination. "Mother wants me to marry you, Adam." The words hit him like a shockwave. He stepped back again, his mind trying to make sense of what Elyra had just said. "What? Marry me? But why me? I'm just a human." Elyra gave a slight smile, though it was filled with sadness. "You are not just a human, Adam. Your kind possesses something rare, something we need. My people are dying, and only through a bond with a human can we save our species." Adam felt a wave of disbelief wash over him. "This is insane. I don't even know you. How can I help save your people by marrying your daughter?" Elyra took a deep breath. "It's not about love in the way humans understand it. It's about survival. My people's existence depends on this bond. Without it, we will fade into nothingness." Adam shook his head, still trying to grasp the situation. "I can't just marry someone because you say so. I don't even know what this involves. You're asking me to make a decision that could change my entire life forever." Elyra stepped closer, her eyes filled with regret. "I didn't ask for this, Adam, but the bond is the only way. My mother, she believes this is the only way to save our people. We need you." The room fell into a heavy silence as Adam processed the weight of their words. He glanced between the two aliens, seeing the desperation in their eyes. It wasn't just a request, it was a plea for help. But what could he possibly offer them? How could he marry someone he barely knew, simply to save an alien race? What's the alternative? Adam asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Elyra's expression darkened. Without this bond, my people will die. There are no other options. We've tried everything else. Adam's heart ached at the thought. He couldn't just walk away from this, but the weight of the decision was overwhelming. How could he help these aliens, whose world he didn't understand, by marrying a girl he had just met? As the wind howled outside, Adam looked at Elyra and Elyra. This was no longer just about a strange encounter. It was about something much bigger, something that would change everything. He took a deep breath, feeling the weight of their gazes upon him. I need time to think. Elyra nodded. Of course. We will give you the time you need. But no, this time is something we don't have much of. As they turned to leave, Adam stood frozen in the doorway, unsure of what to do next. The decision ahead would change his life forever. Understanding her world, Adam sat at his kitchen table, his mind racing. The night had settled in, but sleep was nowhere near him. He had always been a man of reason, someone who needed explanations, facts, and clear logic. But nothing in his life had ever prepared him for this. An alien girl, her mysterious mother, and a marriage proposal that sounded like something out of a dream or a nightmare. The wind howled outside, but inside everything was eerily quiet. The sound of the clock ticking was the only thing keeping Adam grounded. He couldn't understand why he felt such a pull towards them. They weren't like any creatures he had ever encountered before. The way they looked, the way they was all foreign to him. Yet, there was something about their presence that felt almost familiar. He stood up and walked toward the window, staring out at the darkened sky. What kind of a world did they come from? What was it like to be part of a race so different, so far from everything he had ever known? The question kept coming back, over and over. And now, with this impossible request hanging in the air, he had no choice but to learn more. The next day, Elyra and Elyra returned. This time, they were not standing in the doorway, but sitting at his small dining table, looking like they belonged. There, the alien mother had a calm, almost regal presence, while Elyra seemed nervous, fidgeting with her hands. Adam knew that both of them had been waiting for him to make a decision, but he was far from ready. I've been thinking, Adam began, his voice breaking the silence. You said something yesterday about a bond. What exactly does that mean? Elyra nodded, her expression serious. In our culture, the bond is more than just a union. It is a form of survival. For centuries, our species has relied on these bonds to maintain balance. The connection between our kind and yours is unique, a way for us to renew our strength. Without it, our people will weaken and eventually fade from existence. Adam's mind was racing. But why me? Why do you need me specifically? Yours eyes softened. Humans are different from other species. There's a strength in you, something we cannot find elsewhere. You have an energy, something that gives life in a way that no other race can. Your kind is diverse, adaptable, and resilient. Our people have studied humans for centuries. We've always known that one day we would need to connect with someone like you. Elyra looked up, her eyes filled with quiet sadness. I didn't ask for this, Adam. I don't want to force you into something that's not your choice. But my mother, ... She believes it's the only way. If the bond doesn't happen, we might all be lost. The weight of her words settled in Adam's chest like a stone. He didn't know how to process it. He wasn't a hero. He wasn't a savior. He was just a man trying to get through his days. Yet here he was, being asked to play a part in something far larger than himself. The pressure was suffocating. So, this bond, what does it mean for me? For you? For us? Adam asked, his voice tinged with disbelief. Elyra hesitated for a moment, then spoke softly. It means that you and Elyra will be connected in a way that is beyond human understanding. It's a spiritual and physical bond. Once it happens, the connection is permanent. It's not a simple marriage. It's a merging of life forces. Through this bond, you will give strength to our people, and in return, we will protect you. Adam's heart pounded in his chest. A merging of life. Forces he could barely comprehend the magnitude of what they were asking of him. He looked at Elyra, whose eyes were filled with uncertainty, and for the first time, he realized just how much pressure she must be under too. She wasn't the one making this decision, her mother was. Elyra had her own doubts, just like he did. So, what happens if I say no? Adam asked, his voice quieter now. Elyra's gaze grew heavy. If you refuse, Elyra and I will leave. We'll return to our planet, but our people will continue to weaken. Without the bond, we will not survive. It's a cycle we cannot break. Adam stood up, pacing around the room. He needed time. He needed to process everything he was learning. This wasn't just some bizarre request. This was a life-changing decision, one that would alter his entire world forever. I don't know what to do, Adam admitted, his voice tinged with frustration. How am I supposed to make this decision? This isn't just some choice about a marriage or a relationship. This is about life and death. Yours, and maybe even mine. Elyra stood and walked toward him, her footsteps soft on the wooden floor. I know this is hard for you, Adam. I didn't ask for this, but my mother believes it's the only way. Please, if you can help us, it might save all of us. For a moment, Adam looked into her eyes, those bright alien eyes that had once held nothing but fear and hunger. Now they were filled with hope. And in that moment, Adam knew that his decision wasn't just about him anymore. It wasn't just about surviving. There was something more at stake. He took a deep breath and nodded slowly. I'll do it. I don't know what it means or what will happen next, but I can't stand by and watch you both disappear. I'll help you. Elyra's face softened, and for the first time there was a hint of relief in her expression. Thank you, Adam. You have made the right choice. The bond will begin soon. But Adam knew, deep inside, that he had just stepped into something far more complicated than he could have imagined. And whatever happened next, there would be no turning back. The power of the proposal, the days that followed, were filled with a strange tension. Adam felt like he was walking through a fog, unsure of what was real and what was a dream. Every interaction with Elyra and Elyra felt different now, charged with an energy he couldn't explain. They had come to stay in the small guest room he offered, but even though they were in his house, they might as well have been from another world. The proposal, which had once seemed so distant and unreal, was now something he couldn't ignore. He could sense it hanging in the air, like an unspoken promise. Tomorrow, Elyra said. One evening we will begin the ceremony. Adam looked at her, confused. Ceremony, what do you mean? The bond is not something that happens overnight. Adam, she explained, it's a process. There is a ritual that we must perform to connect our worlds. It's both a physical and spiritual union. We will need to travel to a special place, a sacred site on the edge of the forest, where our ancestors performed their own bonds. Adam felt a chill run down his spine. I didn't know there was a whole ritual involved. Leora's expression grew serious. There is much you do not know. The bond will connect us, not just in body, but in spirit. And once it's done, you and Elyra will be tied together for eternity. Your lives will be forever intertwined. Adam wasn't sure if he was ready for that kind of commitment. But the urgency in Leora's eyes made it clear that this wasn't just about a lifelong promise. This was about survival, hers, Elyra's, and possibly the survival of their entire species. That night, he lay awake in his bed, staring at the ceiling. The weight of the decision pressed on him harder than ever. If he went through with this, it would change everything. His life, his future, it would all be different. But what if he didn't? What if this was the last chance to help them? Elyra had been quieter than usual over the past few days. She spent most of her time staring out the window, lost in her thoughts. But when Adam went to check on her that night, she was sitting on the edge of the bed, looking up at him with sad eyes. "Are you sure about this?" she asked softly. "I know what it means for me, but what about you? This isn't just something that happens. It's big. It's forever." Adam sighed, sitting down next to her. "I don't know, Elyra. I didn't ask for this. But neither of us can pretend this isn't happening. If I say no, your people will die, and I can't let that happen. I can't turn my back on you." Elyra's face softened, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. "I never wanted to put you in this position. I didn't want to drag you into something you didn't understand. But my mother, ... she believes this is the only way. And maybe she's right. Maybe this is what needs to happen." Adam's heart ached for her. She was young, much younger than he had originally realized. She had been thrust into this responsibility, forced to accept a destiny she didn't want any more than he did. "We'll get through this," he said, his voice firm despite the uncertainty gnawing at him. "We'll figure it out." But even as he said the words, he wasn't sure what that would mean. Would they be able to truly connect? Was it even possible to bond with someone an alien, no less, without losing himself in the process? The following morning, they traveled deep into the forest, Elyra and Leora leading the way. Adam felt uneasy, his mind filled with questions and doubts. The forest was dense and quiet, with tall trees that seemed to stretch endlessly toward the sky. The air was thick with a strange energy that made the hairs on the back of his neck stand up. Finally, they arrived at a clearing. At the center of the space was a large stone altar, ancient and worn by time. It was surrounded by glowing symbols carved into the ground, their meanings lost to Adam, but the sight was breathtaking, even intimidating. Leora turned to him, her face serious. "This is the site where our ancestors performed their bonds. It is a sacred place, full of power. Are you ready?" Adam looked at the altar, feeling a sense of dread building in his chest. Was he really ready for this? Was he prepared to tie himself to Elyra forever, to this alien race, to this strange ritual that he barely understood? "Ready or not, this is happening," Adam said, more to himself than to anyone else. Leora nodded, her expression softening. "There is no going back once we begin. This is your decision, Adam. There is no undoing it." Elyra stood next to him, her hands trembling. "I don't want to force you. I just ... I just want to save my people." Adam took a deep breath and nodded. I know. Elyra stepped forward, her hands raised toward the sky as she began to chant in a language Adam didn't recognize. The symbols on the ground glowed brighter, and the air around them seemed to hum with energy. Elyra stood beside Adam, her hand reaching out to him. He took it, his heart pounding in his chest. As Elyra's chanting grew louder, the symbols on the ground seemed to shift and twist, forming intricate patterns that made Adam feel lightheaded. The ground beneath their feet trembled, and Adam's skin tingled with an unknown force. He felt a strange pull between himself and Elyra, a connection that had nothing to do with words. Suddenly, Elyra's eyes locked onto his, and for a moment, everything else faded away. There was only the two of them, standing in the center of this ancient ritual. The bond, the connection, it was happening. Adam wasn't sure if he was ready for it, but there was no turning back now. The strangest secret, the ritual, had been nothing like Adam had imagined. What started as a strange, mysterious ceremony had turned into something far deeper and far more powerful than he had ever expected. The symbols on the ground still pulsed, with an otherworldly glow, and the air around him felt charged, as though the entire forest was alive with energy. The connection between him and Elyra was undeniable, and yet he couldn't shake the feeling that something more was at play than just a simple bond. Elyra stood beside him, her eyes closed, her hand still in his. Her skin seemed to glow softly, a reflection of the ritual's energy coursing through both of them. For a moment, everything felt perfectly still. The humming of the universe, the rhythmic chant of Elyra, was as though time itself had stopped. But then, a new sensation stirred deep within Adam's chest. It was subtle at first, a gentle pull at the edges of his consciousness. Then, it grew stronger. He glanced at Elyra. Her expression had shifted. She looked more vulnerable now, more uncertain, as if she too were feeling something that she hadn't prepared for. "Elyra," Adam whispered, squeezing her hand gently. She opened, her eyes, her gaze flickering with something he couldn't read. "Something's wrong," she said, her voice barely audible. Before Adam could ask her what she meant, Elyra's voice cut through the tension. "The bond is complete, but there is more that must be revealed." Adam turned to face her, his confusion growing. "What do you mean? You said the bond was all that was needed." Elyra's face was unreadable, but there was a faint trace of worry in her eyes. She took a step toward him, lowering her voice so only Adam could hear. "The bond is only part of the ritual. There is a deeper truth about why we needed you, a truth that I've kept hidden from Elyra. But now it is time you both knew." Adam's stomach tightened. "What are you talking about?" Elyra glanced at Elyra, her expression softening, as though the words she was about to say would hurt her as much as they would him. "It is not just that our people need you, Adam. It is that you are the key to saving them." Elyra's eyes widened, and she looked at Elyra, her voice trembling. "What do you mean? I don't understand." Elyra took a deep breath, as though preparing herself for a confession she had long avoided. "You and Adam were chosen, Elyra, but it wasn't just by chance. You are not only bound to him for the survival of our people. You are tied to him because you are both connected to something far greater, force beyond what you or I fully understand." Adam felt a cold shiver run down his spine. "What are you saying?" Elyra looked at her mother, shock evident on her face. "Are you saying that I was chosen for this? That I didn't have a choice?" Elyra nodded slowly. "Yes, Elyra, and Adam too. You were both chosen because of a deeper, hidden purpose. The bond you share will not just save our species, it will change everything. Adam's mind spun. Change everything? How? Elyra hesitated, her gaze flickering between her daughter and Adam. You see, Adam, our race is not just facing extinction. We are on the brink of a transformation, a metamorphosis that has been foretold for centuries. The bond between you and Elyra is the catalyst. It will unlock the power that has been dormant within both of you. The future of our people is tied to your union in ways that neither of you can fully comprehend. Adam shook his head, feeling a mix of anger and confusion. Why didn't you tell us this sooner? Why keep it a secret? Elyra's eyes filled with sorrow. Because the truth is dangerous. The power you will unlock is volatile. If it is not controlled, it could destroy not only our race, but yours as well. That is why I kept it from you. I thought that if you were prepared for the truth, you might refuse the bond, and that would have been the end of everything. Elyra stepped forward, her face pale. What exactly are you saying, Mother? What power are you talking about? And why didn't you warn me? Elyra reached out, taking Elyra's hand gently. The power that lies within you, Elyra, has been passed down through generations. It was hidden away for a reason. Your bloodline is the key to unlocking it. And Adam, by bonding with you, will awaken that power. But it is not something that can be controlled easily. It is a force that will either save our people or destroy them. Adam stood still, his mind reeling. He had agreed to this bond, too. This union with Elyra, thinking it was simply a way to help them. But now, he realized he had stepped into something much larger than he could have ever imagined. A force that neither he nor Elyra could control, but one that could alter the course of not just their lives, but the entire galaxy. Are you telling me that if I hadn't agreed to this, your people would have been doomed anyway? Adam asked, his voice thick with disbelief. Elyra nodded slowly. Yes, the bond was inevitable. But there are those who would use the power for their own gain. Adam, you must understand, this is not just about saving us. It's about protecting the balance of the universe itself. Elyra looked at Adam, her eyes filled with fear and uncertainty. What are we supposed to do now? Elyra's gaze darkened. The bond is just the beginning. There is much more ahead of you, both of you, and you must be prepared for what comes next. Adam looked at Elyra, his heart heavy with the weight of the responsibility he had unknowingly taken on. I don't know if I'm ready for this, he admitted, his voice shaky. Elyra took a deep breath and nodded. Neither am I, but we don't have a choice now. We're in this together. And as Adam looked into her eyes, he realized that, no matter how unprepared they were, they would have to face whatever came next together. The decision, the days that followed the revelation, were filled with an intense mix of confusion, fear, and urgency. Adam couldn't stop thinking about what Elyra had said, the power hidden within him and Elyra, the future of their entire species resting on their bond. The weight of it all was almost too much to bear. Elyra had been distant, lost in her own thoughts. Adam understood. She had just learned that she wasn't just part of a survival plan, but a pivotal piece in a much larger game. How could anyone cope with the knowledge that their life, their choices, weren't truly their own? Elyra, on the other hand, was more focused than ever. She had been preparing Elyra for something beyond the bond. But Adam couldn't shake the feeling that there was more that Elyra wasn't telling them. There always seemed to be another layer, another mystery that would reveal itself when the time was right. One evening, as the three of them sat in the small kitchen, Adam couldn't hold it in any longer. You've been talking about this power, this transformation, Adam began, his voice steady but heavy with the weight of his thoughts. But what exactly does it mean for us? What are we supposed to do with this power once it's unlocked? Leora's expression was unreadable. She had been quiet, as though she was waiting for Adam to ask the right question. The power inside you and Elyra will not just change you, it will change everything around you. Leora explained slowly, her tone serious. It is a force of creation and destruction. The balance between the two must be kept. If you let the power consume you, it could destroy not only your world, but ours as well. Adam leaned forward, his mind racing. So, what exactly are you asking of us? What do you want me to do? How can I control this? Elyra's voice broke through the tension. You don't have to do anything, Adam. You don't have to save me or my people. If this is too much for you, we can leave. I'll go back, and you can go back to your life. You don't have to carry this burden for me. Adam's heart ached as he looked at her. He could see the fear in her eyes, the uncertainty. She was offering him a way out, one where he wouldn't be responsible for the weight of an entire alien species' survival. But deep down, Adam knew there was no turning back now. I can't walk away from this, he said quietly, his voice steady but resolute. I can't leave you, Elyra. I agreed to this bond, and I'll stand by my word. But I need to know what comes next. I need to understand what we're truly up against. Leora nodded, her face still serious. The truth is, Adam, you must make a choice. There are those who would use this power for their own purposes, to control and manipulate not only your world but mine. You will be faced with a decision that no one can make for you. Do you fight to protect the balance? Or do you let others take control and destroy everything? The words hit Adam like a punch to the gut. The responsibility was overwhelming. He had already agreed to the bond, but now he understood that it wasn't just about the aliens' survival, it was about the survival of every living thing in the universe. Elyra reached out, her hand trembling as she placed it in his. I'm scared, Adam, she admitted softly. I don't know if I can carry this burden, but I know I can't do it alone. Adam squeezed her hand, trying to offer her the strength he didn't feel. You don't have to carry it alone. We'll face this together, Elyra. Leora stood, her eyes now filled with a mixture of pride and fear. Then the decision has been made. There is no turning back. The power inside you both will only grow stronger, and with it comes a choice you must make soon. The longer you wait, the harder it will be. Adam felt a cold shiver run through him. He didn't know what awaited him, but he knew it wouldn't be easy. The fate of not just Elyra's people, but of his own world, rested in his hands, and there was no escaping that reality. What happens now? Adam asked, his voice quiet, but firm. Leora's eyes darkened. Now, you must prepare. The power you've unlocked is already stirring. You will begin to feel its effects more intensely. It's up to you to control it before it controls you. And be warned, Adam, there are forces out there who will try to take it from you. Forces that will stop at nothing to gain control of the power you now possess. Elyra's grip on Adam's hand tightened. Who are these forces? Who's after us? Leora didn't answer immediately, as though weighing how much to reveal. Finally, she spoke, her voice grim. There are factions in the galaxy, beings who seek to manipulate the bond for their own gain. They've been watching us for centuries, and now that the bond is complete, they will come for you. Adam's stomach twisted. What do we do? Leora's gaze was intense. You must be ready. You must prepare yourselves for the battles ahead. The power you have unlocked is a gift, but it's also a weapon that can change the course of everything. Adam stood up, his mind spinning with the enormity of what he had just learned. He had known that the bond would change things, but he had no idea how deep the rabbit hole went. This wasn't just about saving a species, it was about protecting the very fabric of the universe itself. I won't run, Adam said, his voice steady. We'll face whatever comes next, together. Elyra nodded, her eyes meeting his with a mix of fear and resolve. Together, she echoed, and with that, Adam knew that there was no turning back. The decision had been made. The fight for their future and the future of everything was about to begin. The final choice. The days blurred together after that conversation. Adam could feel the power inside him and Elyra, growing, surging just beneath the surface of their skin, like a storm waiting to break. It wasn't the kind of power he had ever imagined, no magical force or spectacular display of energy. It was subtler than that, more dangerous, like an unseen current that could drag them under at any moment. Every thought, every action seemed to echo with this strange energy that connected him to Elyra. It was overwhelming, and at times it felt suffocating. Adam spent his nights lying awake, staring at the ceiling, trying to make sense of it all. The decision he had made to stand by Elyra, to accept the bond, seemed more and more like a choice he couldn't undo. There was no going back. His life, his future, was now tied to hers in a way that was beyond his understanding. Elyra was still, distant, lost in her own thoughts, but Adam noticed the changes in her too. She was quieter now, her eyes often clouded with uncertainty. It was clear that the burden of the choice they both had made was weighing heavily on her. She had always been strong, but now Adam could see that even she was struggling with the immense responsibility that had been thrust upon her. Leora, as usual, was focused, guiding them through the ritual that would help them control the power that was growing within them. But even she seemed more tense, as though there was something she wasn't saying, something more than just the danger of the power itself. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Adam sat with Elyra outside their cottage, the cool night air pressing against his skin. The stars above were more brilliant than he had ever seen them before. It was a peaceful moment, but Adam knew that peace wouldn't last long. I've been thinking, Adam said, his voice breaking the silence. Elyra looked at him, her eyes soft. About what? About the choice we have to make. About what comes next. Adam's words felt heavy as they left his mouth. Leora said, we have to control this power, or it will destroy us. But what if we can't control it? What if it's too much for us? Elyra's gaze dropped to the ground. She didn't respond right away, and Adam could see the struggle behind her eyes. She was just as afraid as he was, but she had learned to hide it better. After a long pause, she finally spoke. I don't know, Adam. I don't know if I can control it either. But I know that if we don't try, everything we've been through, everything we're fighting for will be in vain. I can't let that happen. I can't let my people fade away. Adam reached out, taking her hand in his. I understand. I won't let you face this alone. But there's more to this than just us. Leora mentioned that there are others, other beings who want this power. Do we fight them, or do we let them take it? Elyra's voice was barely a whisper. I don't know. I don't even know if I'm ready for what comes next. But I can't let others control it either. If they take it, There's no telling what they'll do. Adam nodded slowly. You're right, we don't have a choice. We have to fight. The wind rustled the leaves around them, and the weight of the decision settled heavily on Adam's chest. They could run, they could hide, but that would only delay the inevitable. The choice had already been made for them, even if they hadn't fully understood the consequences at the time. Now, it was a matter of surviving what came next and taking control of the power they had unlocked before someone else could. Then we'll fight, Adam said, his voice firm. Elyra's grip on his hand tightened, together, as they sat. In the stillness of the night, Adam couldn't help but feel a sense of dread creeping up on him. They had made their decision, but the real battle was just beginning. There were forces out there that would stop at nothing to claim the power that now lay within them, and those forces wouldn't care about the consequences. Elyra appeared in the doorway, her face drawn with concern. You've made the right decision, she said softly, her gaze flickering between them. But you must be prepared. The enemy is closer than you think. Adam stood, his heart racing. What do you mean? Who are they? What are we up against? Elyra's expression grew grave. They are not just any enemies. They are ancient beings, creatures of immense power, who have been searching for the bond for millennia. They will stop at nothing to claim it. Elyra stepped forward, her voice determined. Then we'll stop them. We can't let them take control of this power. It's not just our lives at stake anymore. It's everyone's. Elyra nodded, her eyes filled with a mix of pride and fear. You're right, but the path ahead will not be easy. You will have to face the darkness within yourselves before you can confront the darkness outside. You are stronger than you think, but you must learn to control the power you've unlocked before it destroys you. Adam felt a shiver run down his spine. The road ahead was uncertain, and the stakes had never been higher. But there was no turning back now. The final choice had been made. They had chosen to fight, to protect what they had gained, and to stand against the forces that would tear everything apart. We're ready, Adam said, his voice steady, though his heart raced with the fear of the unknown. We'll do whatever it takes. Elyra's eyes softened with a hint of approval. Then prepare yourselves. The enemy is coming, and it's only a matter of time before they strike. The quiet of the night seemed to press in around them, and Adam knew that whatever came next would change everything. The battle for control of their fate and the fate of every living thing was about to begin, and there would be no turning back. The aftermath, the days after their decision, were filled with preparations. Adam, Elyra, and Elyra worked tirelessly, gathering what little they could to defend themselves against the unknown enemy. The sense of urgency hung over them like a dark cloud, the knowledge that their fate and the fate of Elyra's entire species was in their hands. The bond that had once felt like a strange and distant connection was now a constant presence. Adam could feel it in every breath he took, in every step he made. It was there, just beneath the surface, an energy that pulsed with both power and danger. Elyra seemed to sense it too, her eyes often distant, as if she were lost in a world of her own. They were both changing, adapting to the power within them, but they knew it wasn't enough. They needed to control it, or they would lose themselves to it. Elyra continued to teach them the ways of their people, the ancient rituals that could help harness the power of the bond. But there were no guarantees. The enemy was still out there, growing closer with each passing day. The creatures Elyra had spoken of were ancient beings, beings that lived outside the boundaries of time, whose power was beyond anything Adam had ever imagined. Their goal is simple, Elyra had said one night as they sat around a fire. They want control of the bond. The power that you and Elyra now possess is more than just a tool, it is a weapon. If they gain control of it, they will reshape everything to their will. Adam could hardly comprehend the full extent of what Elyra was saying. The power they had unlocked wasn't just about saving Elyra's people. It was something more, something that could change the entire course of history, for better or worse. We can't let them take it, Adam said firmly. We can't let them use it for their own gain. Elyra's voice was low, but filled with resolve. We won't, but we don't even know who they are, where they're coming from, or how they plan to take it. We need to be ready. And so, they prepared. The days stretched into weeks, each one bringing them closer to the inevitable confrontation. Elyra and Adam worked together, learning to channel the energy within them, learning to control it at least to the extent that they could. The bond between them had only grown stronger, their connection deeper. At times, it felt as though their thoughts were intertwined, their emotions impossible to separate. The power was there, ever present, and yet it was still so unpredictable. Finally, one morning, as the first light of dawn broke over the horizon, Elyra approached them with a grave expression. "They are coming," she said quietly, her voice laced with tension. Adam's heart skipped a beat. "How do you know?" Elyra's eyes hardened. "I've sensed them. Their presence is growing stronger. They've found us." Elyra stood up, her face pale but resolute. "Then we fight. We stand together." Elyra nodded, her expression unreadable. "You're ready? But remember, the power within you is not just a weapon. It is a responsibility. You must control it, or it will control you." Adam glanced at Elyra, feeling the weight of her hand in his. They had made it this far together, and they would face whatever came next together. The wind picked up, a gust that carried with it the scent of something unfamiliar. Adam's senses were heightened, his mind racing. The enemy was close, and they would have to move quickly. There was no time for hesitation. Elyra led them to a hidden chamber beneath the earth, a place that had been used by her ancestors for centuries. It was dark, the air thick with the scent of ancient stones. The chamber was lined with symbols, glowing faintly with a strange, otherworldly light. "This is where we will make our stand," Elyra said, her voice steady despite the tension in the air. "The power you have unlocked will be our only hope. But you must stay focused. The enemy will try to manipulate you, to draw out your fears. Do not let them." Adam felt the weight of her words as they settled into the chamber. He could feel the power inside him, felt it surging through him, a tide that threatened to overwhelm him. But Elyra's hand in his anchored him. Together, they had unlocked this power. Together, they would control it. Elyra stepped back, raising her hands to the sky. The symbols on the walls of the chamber began to glow brighter, the air buzzing with energy. "They're here," Elyra whispered. "Get ready." Adam and Elyra stood side by side, their hands still clasped together. Adam could feel the presence of the enemy, though he couldn't see them. It was a feeling, gay, dark, oppressive energy that filled the air, that pressed in on him from all sides. It was coming from all directions, a force that threatened to engulf them. Then, the first of them appeared, tall, cloaked figures with eyes that gleamed like burning coals. They stepped into the chamber, their movements fluid and unnerving, as though they didn't belong to this world. One of the creatures stepped forward, its voice low and rasping. "You have what belongs to us," it said, its eyes locked onto Elyra. "The power you possess is not yours to wield. Give it to us, and we will spare your lives." Elyra's grip on Adam's hand tightened. "We won't give it to you." The creature's eyes flashed with anger. "Then you will suffer the consequences." Before Adam could react, the air around them seemed to warp. The creature lunged forward, its form shifting like smoke, a blur of darkness and shadow. But Adam felt the power within him surge, the bond between him and Elyra lighting up like a beacon. It was time to fight. In that moment, Adam made the final choice. He would protect what they had, no matter the cost. He would fight to keep the power from falling into the wrong hands. And so, the battle began.